Hi, bon everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning from wherever the world you're listening into. Thank you all for joining in on this very special webinar that we have organized to introduce the East Coast of Sri Lanka and a special tour that Jetwing Hotels and Travels together with the support of Connaissance de Ceylon, that the special tour that we have organized. So I'm Chandika. I'll be speaking about the experiences and also a few sections of the hotels. And we have Mr. Shankure here from Jetwing Hotels, who will speak a little bit more about the Jetwing hotels that are on show on this tour. So let's move on. So that's a little bit about myself, but I'm going to skip that. I'm just going to go on to starting the webinar. So why the East? We decided that we need to promote the East a little bit more because it's not, it is visited. If you take Arugambe during the surfing period, when people come to surf, yes, it is visited. But apart from that, the East has this wealth of culture, wildlife, food, and history, all wrapped together. And it's a place that people can experience all these things. It's kind of what's similar to what you do on our normal routes. So let's say Anuradhapura, Polonnaru, or you go to Yala, and all those places. You've got kind of the same experiences, maybe sometimes even better experiences in the East. But you're also going to these places with less crowds and less hustle bustle, so you're very much more relaxed. So we thought that the East is something that we need to push. So we came up with this special tour that we organized, and let's go and see how it is. So we chose three specific locations. WELLAWAYA, number one is that Jetwing also has a hotel there. So Jetwing Kanduruketa is going to be our base there, and Hashan will come in and speak a bit about Kanduruketa. And also for the experiences that you get in WELLAWAYA with the agriculture, with the bird life, and the history as well. And then we move on to Kalloya, which again, if you think, a lot of people think about Kalloya as being, the Kalloya National Park and the elephants, but there's much more to that as well, where you get, specific birds for birding clients. Of course, you've got the Kalloya National Park and the elephants, and of course the famous swimming elephants. And also there is so much history in that area as well, which we will learn about in a little bit. And then we go down to Potuvil and Arugambe, that area, where you've also got a lot of wildlife, you've got a lot of history, and you've got a lot of food. So it's a tour that combines a lot of different elements as well. And also from Potuvil, you could do a excursion and go extension to the beach and go up towards Malu Malu and Pasikuda, that side. I'm going to shift a bit and let Hashan speak to you guys about WELLAWAYA and Jetwing Kanduruketa.
Everyone. My name is Hashan Kure, and I'm the marketing manager at Jetwing Hotels. Just to give you a brief introduction to Jetwing Kanduruketa and the concept at the hotel. So we just have 25 dwellings at the property. It's Sri Lanka's first agro luxury tourism project. We work together with, we have actually the property itself. It's a total land of about 60 acres. We have 50 acres of paddy fields and about 10 acres where the property itself is surrounded. So each individual chalet has its own, private area, and 20 of the dwellings face directly to the paddy field and the mountain range that you see in the background. And 5 have a beautiful forest view as well. So the concept there is it's really to do a lot with the agricultural element of it. You engage with the farmers, you go on paddy field walks. We also have a lot of other excursions in the area, the rivers, the waterfalls, all of that as well. In addition to that, we're also located just 40 minutes away from Alla, which is a very popular destination now. So if you have a guest who's not only interested in the paddy fields and the other agricultural elements, we also arrange all the excursions that you can do in Alla as well. But to be honest, there's a lot to do within the WELLAWAYA region itself. In addition to the agriculture, we also have the archaeological sites. Again, even wildlife for wildlife lovers as well. The Yala Block 5 is about a 45-minute drive away. So all of these other excursions are available in the East Coast. and it really goes to show the experiential elements that are available in addition to just another hotel. It's not just another hotel, it's a very unique concept what we have in WELLAWAYA, and that's what in a very short while, that's something I can give you as a summary to Kaduruketha. But if you, of course, if you want more information on both properties, we can share that with you as well. So some of the experiences in WELLAWAYA.
Yeah, as Ashan was mentioning before, WELLAWAYA, we've got, there's bird watching trails right within the hotel itself, and we have our very own naturalist who's there, who's always willing to, join you and come along and explain. There's also this tree trail that has been developed within the hotel where the naturalist has gone and marked all the special trees, and you also get QR codes, and he's bringing technology into it so that you can get more information. I mean, if you speak a different language, maybe in a different language, so it's all there. Yala Block 5 and Kudumbigala National Park, as Ashan was saying, is just 45 minutes away now, with the roads being in good condition. And as he said, the paddy field walk is also where you get to learn about paddy and all that. And also, I believe Kaduruketha is growing, heirloom rice,
Yes.
and they're growing special types of rice that, you don't normally see in shops. So it's a very interesting property in its own as well, where you can go and experience.
So we work with 31 farming families in the region. So we have a collaborative project with them for the paddy fields, where we give them the funding to start off the harvest, and then there's 2 harvesting seasons here. So they, we have a split. We share the harvest 50-50 with the farmers and the hotel, but the entire production, all of that is done by them, with supported financially by the hotels. So we work collaboratively with the farmers in the area, growing purely organic heirloom rice varieties. So all traditional rice varieties that were in Sri Lanka thousands of years ago, we reintroduce them to the area, and we grow them organically as well.
So moving on from Kaduruketha, from WELLAWAYA, then we move on towards the Galway area in Oya National Park. So for this, we've picked out, and we're being supported by Team Resorts with Galway while glamping. So it's about, if you're taking a direct route all the way to Galway without Kaduruketha, it's about 6 hours and 20 minutes from the Southern Expressway. But it's only a 2-hour drive. It's actually a nice drive from Jetwing Kaduruketha. So speaking a little about Galway while glamping, they've got 3 family tents, 3 doubles, and 4 twin tents that are tented accommodation, but they've also got the pool and all the little necessities that you need to have a luxurious stay. If you look at the picture, that's one of the experiences we had there, where the local Veddahs came and did a small introduction to us and a dance. Just a few more pictures from the property. The lovely night sky, which showcases the 4 family tents that they have, and of course the pool and the other tents. And your welcome ride towards the property is in a hand tractor, which is also a nice experience. So moving on to the experiences in the Galway area. So as I said, historically, archaeological wise, you've got the Rajagala, which is an ancient monastery. Then the boat safari in the Naika Samudra is something that you shouldn't miss in the area. Then the nature walk with the Veddha is where you head out with the Veddha into the forest that they have been walking around and using for thousands and thousands of years. There is a bird watching trail, and also you could do a normal safari into Galway National Park. Speaking on the Rajagala Monastery, it's an old monasterial complex. I'll get you the details in the next slide. So the drive time from the Galway area, or Galway while glamping Galway, is about 1 hour 30 minutes, 70-kilometer drive. When you get there, you have several ways. It's actually it's on top of a plateau where you have to actually climb up. It's about a 300-meter elevation that you have to do. So you've got a couple of routes that you can use. One is a 1.4-kilometer hike to the top of the ruins. It's stepped. It's moderately difficult, I would say. You need a little bit of fitness to do that, and it takes about an hour to get to the top. There's also an alternative 1-kilometer route through the jungle. It's a bit less difficult than the stepped one, but again, you have to be creeping through vines, and it's a jungle route, and the chances of coming across an elephant increase a little bit more when you're on that route. But there is also a 4-kilometer dirt route that takes you all the way to the top in a vehicle, but you need to do that in something that has a bit of a high ground clearance because it's a dirt road and there's rocks jutting out here and there. So if you have a SUV or you're going in a Jeep or something, you can do that. And it's best done in the morning because, as you said, there's a bit of walking involved, and also you have to go across these big boulders and rocks, which do tend to get a bit hot after the morning hours. It's best done in the morning. Facts about Rajagala: it's a monasterial complex. It doesn't, have any ruins of palaces and things like that. So it was used as a monasterial complex. History says that it was created by King Lajatissa, but the definite point of history is not pinpointed there. It says it has been inhabited since the 1st century BC. And one of the interesting facts about this is it's one of the places where there's the only rock inscription that actually depicts the arrival of Arahat Mahinda to Sri Lanka and bringing Buddhism as a religion to Sri Lanka. So these are a few pictures of the Rajagala, the monastery. You can see this is actually the rock inscription. There's stupas, there's fascinating amount of caves that you can go to, which they've actually kind of differentiated into caves, and there are what they call cold caves, which actually when you go inside, it feels like there's been an air conditioner turned on and it's cold. So you get guard stones and ruins just like you do in Anuradhapura and Polonnaruwa. And of course, Chaitya, the guide who was there told us that there's these two Chaityas or pagodas that one of them contains the relics of Arahat Mahinda. And you can see the caves also had walls and rooms separated. And there's this Buddha statue which was not completed, which is there. This is also a very fascinating thing that we came across where, this is a place where they collected water for the monks and also for meal purposes in two big, large stone cauldrons. And the water comes from the mountainside, which apparently did come through several layers of filters of sand and charcoal. So it's very fresh, pure, filtered water. It's another image of the stupa that we have. Just got a small video clip of the climb to the top. So this is the step route that we took. So it's actually pretty shady. So you're not really in the hot sun, but it takes some time. Slowly get up. There are certain areas where the steps are a little bit steeper. And I'm going to move on to this is one of the ancient sites, and there is a guide there. There's students who are studying archaeology.
It's still being restored.
Yeah, and the area is still being restored. They're always finding new sites. So in total, there's about 500 sites, which only a very few that they have actually excavated and dug up. And this site was supposedly a steam house, where the priests used to go and clean themselves using steam. Apparently, it had been all covered all around and sealed. Then they have areas where they had the fires that created the steam. So you have students from the archaeology department. There's people from the archaeology department as well as students who are studying archaeology on hand to explain. Moving on to one of the more exciting parts of the Galway trip was the boat ride to the Senanayaka Samudra. It's about 30 to 40 minutes away from Wild Glamping Galway. The boat ride is 2 hours long. Tickets have to be purchased at the wildlife office in Nirgala. It's done by the hotel. So when you book the package, you get the whole thing. So they book it for you. So there are 3 times that the boat ride start. 6 a.m. is one, 9:30 a.m. and 3 p.m. So what we discovered the best was the 3 p.m. one, the one that goes in the evening. But the boats are not covered, so it does get a little bit hot at the start, but then you cool off as you go along. DWC provides life jackets. There's a boatman and a DWC official on each and every boat, so they take care of your safety. Department of Wildlife Conservation is the DWC. And the hotel also does this lovely tea setup on. There's lots of little islands dotted around on the Senanayaka Samudra. So the hotel does a lovely little tea setup on one of the islands. So you go you look at a few birds, you look at the crocodiles, and you stop off at one of the islands. They give you a tea spread, then you do a bit more looking around and looking for elephants. Just got a small video clip of what the spread would look like. As you can see, there's lots of little islands. And the islands are places where the elephants go. Grass and so if you're lucky enough, you elephant swimming is something you can do that area. That's a clip of one of the islands where the elephants are there. We're all used to seeing elephants complete. Vegas, but seeing an elephant from a boat. They're also used to fishing boats in the Samudra, so they're not very small. They just go about their business. And of course, you see crocodiles. This is a massive crocodile that we saw on one of the islands. I've got a video for this. Approaching a lone elephant who had made his way on this island. Right. Then we were talking about the WELLAWAYA area. There is a community of indigenous people that we call the Veddahs who are there. So we have arranged a nature walk with the Veddha. So you do a 10-minute drive where you go to we call Adivasi is the original people in Sinhalese. So we go to a cultural center that has been developed for them. So the Veddha will be there with you. He's one of the chieftains of the area. And he will, go through their culture and the places they stayed, the food they ate, how they start fire and all those nitty-gritties. And of course, the hotel naturalist is there to translate for you. So this nature walk is about 2.5 kilometers. It takes roughly about 2 hours, depending on the speed that you go. And the walk is, we would say, moderate to an easy walk, which goes through the forest.
So slow walk because it walk through the
you're walking through the jungle. So I've got a small video clip that shows it's nothing much, but just a bit one area of the nature walk that you go through. So you're basically walking through a jungle with your Veddha guide. He stops and he shows you, the trees that they use for medicine, the trees that they use to get wines out of, to make fibers and ropes and things like that. So it's a very interesting walk that he does. Then there's also a bird watching trail that is done by Wild Camping Galway. It's about 4 kilometers, 2 to 3 hour excursion, depending on how much time you spend bird watching. And this is best done in the morning. And then, of course, as you all know, Oya National Park is also part of the area. You can go on a safari. So it's basically birds and elephants on show, unlike, it's not like Yala where we go. I mean, the forest does have leopards and bears, but seeing them is a long shot in these forests. But you do see elephants and a whole variety of birds. There is a trek that you can do inside the park that you're allowed to. Of course, there will be a guide from the wildlife department with you. And he'll take you to this area in the park where they call the Makarakata, or where the river goes through a series of boulders. It disappears underground and then it pops up in another area. But up to a certain extent, it's easy. But after that, the terrain gets very difficult. So it's not for everyone to go. You have to go over boulders and go between tight boulders and things like that. So it's not the easiest of walks, but you could always go up to the river. And the hotel does a really nice breakfast spread on the banks of the river, and it's a nice location just to sit and relax and then go back onto your safari afterwards. Some pictures of the breakfast spread and the makara that we also visited. So the river disappears under these boulders and then it just appears from the other side. Right? I'm going to give Hashar the chance to speak. I've been speaking for a while now. He's going to speak on Potuvil, the 2 accommodations that we get there, and also maybe a little bit on the experiences that is around the area. Over to you, Hashar.
Thanks, Chandika. So yeah, next stop after WELLAWAYA, after Wild Glamping WELLAWAYA, is Jetwing Surf, which is again about a 2-hour drive from Wild Glamping WELLAWAYA. So as you can see, the reason for creating this trail was also because they are, equal, almost equal distances from each other. What I forgot to mention is also now WELLAWAYA with the highway extension up to Mattala, which is close to Hambantota. WELLAWAYA is only 3.5 hours from Colombo. So even for connecting your itineraries, all of that, which we are discussing later, just to give you a bit of brief introduction into that new connection as well. So Potuvil is literally 5 minutes away from Arugam Bay, which is probably one of the best surfing destinations in the world. Jetwing was the first company actually to develop a luxury eco resort in the area. We were also introduced to the region by one of our dear friends, one of our family's dear friends in the United Kingdom in London, Mr. Len Porter. So he actually introduced, Potuvil to my dad I think about 10 years ago now. And then when he was building the Kutukal Beach House, which we are privileged to manage, a beautiful 4-bedroom villa right on the beach. It's on its own sort of peninsula because it's right at the tip of the beach, and you have it's more than 180 degrees. It's probably about 250 degrees of ocean views from every point of the villa. So it's probably, in my opinion, one of the best beach villas in the country. Right next door is where we were lucky enough to get a property and build a Jetwing Surf, which is a proper, it was at that time also a landmark development. We worked on it with John Belmont, who was the architect for the project. Again, a very creative design. He's actually more of a designer than an architect, and he came up with this really cool concept, being inspired by the seashells in the area. So as you can see, even the roofs, the ceilings of our properties are also interconnected. It goes up like a shell. That's what inspired him for all the public areas. Even in the rooms, the design is based on that. So the entire design is that. The rooms actually, in all three, in Kadruketa as well as Potuvil, the rooms are cooled by fans, and there's a lot of natural ventilation within the room itself. So it's all about open spaces. That way it's a very, very unique product and experience that we offer the guests. We have also a very large stretch of beach, and it's almost private because it's literally just the beach house and Jetwing Surf, Kudumbigala Beach House, Jetwing Surf, and a few of the residents in the area. Apart from that, it's almost a private beach for tourists. Sometimes we get people staying for 1 week, and they want to stay another week because they say they've never stayed in a beach destination like this where you have the beach all to yourself. There are rocks in certain areas, but there is a location very close to the property where you can swim as well. And of course, for surfing, there are 5 major surf points within a 20-minute drive north and south. But of course, the main highlight, Arugam Bay, is just 5 minutes away. Whiskey Point and a few other leading surf destinations, which I personally prefer. If I was, promoting surfing to somebody, I would definitely recommend some of the other places so that you have a more private surfing experience, and the waves are sometimes even better. That is also one of the better things to do there. And of course, what we are really highlighting in this itinerary, in this Experiential East journey, apart from the beach, of course, it's a great beach, it's a great beach destination, but what we want to really highlight is to show you that there's so much more to do in the East Coast. It's not a seasonal destination, number one. It is a year-round destination for the beach as well as for everything else you can do in the area. That's something that we can move on to.
Yeah.
So just a summary of the experiences, we have the Kumana National Park, which used to be called Yala East, I think, sometime back. And then they change it to Kumana Bird Sanctuary, but today it's a national park. It's probably one of the best. It has the most diverse bird life in the country.
It has really diverse bird life
because of the unique Villu concept in the park itself, because it's a natural wetlands. But today you can see leopards, elephants, sloth bears, which we will talk about and show you later. Yeah. It's literally an extension of Yala, and today you see the same diversity of animals you see in Yala, with about 5 vehicles in the entire park with you. So it's almost a private safari experience again. Kudumbigala, Panama Tank, and the lagoon boat ride, which we be which Chantika can talk about more, is also there. So just to again, Jetwing, just also a couple of facts. Jetwing Surf has 20 cabanas, beach cabanas, or private dwellings, and Pottugal Beach House by Jetwing has two rooms and two chalets within the villa premises as well. So, Chantika, over to you.
Yeah, thanks. Sure. So I was speaking about Kumana. It's a 1 hour 15-minute drive from the hotel, but it's not a bad drive. It's actually a nice drive.
Actually, last half an hour is actually
actually,
the park itself.
Last half an hour, maybe, probably about the last half an hour is just within. It's like you're driving through the park because you see a whole variety of animals. You see paddy fields, you see people working on their paddy fields, and then you drive a little bit more. You see water bodies, you see small lagoons, and in those you get a whole host of animals. I mean, you can see jackals roaming around, you can see birds, you can see elephants. So it's a good park to do in the evening, because when you're coming out in the night, once the sun is down, you're coming back, then again you get the chance to see a few nocturnal animals like nightjars and small cats maybe. But if you're a hardcore wildlife enthusiast, then you could actually do a full day within the park. You've got designated stop-off points where you can stop and you can have your meals, you can rest. So yeah, it's highlighted by the birds. The birds are one of the highlights during the migration season, which is the winter period. The bird numbers increase, but even without, you do get the resident bird species. You get the Kumana vildu, which is quite unique, where you've only got vildus in Vilpattu, and then you've got this one big vildu in Kumana. So yeah, birds, leopards, elephants, crocodiles, and sloth bears are all on show in Kumana. So the picture of the elephant that you see is actually taken outside. We were driving towards the park entrance, and the elephant was there feeding on the water grasses. The leopard was seen just about, I would say, about 10 minutes from the entrance. I don't think it was even 10 minutes from the entrance, where we saw this young male leopard. And we were by ourselves. There was only, when we went, there were only 2 jeeps, so it was just us. Unlike where in Yala, if you just pass the entrance, and there's a leopard, there we were 60, 70 jeeps all trying to get a view, probably even more on crowded days. And then these are 2 leopards that were pictured previously. Again, not very far from the entrance. They were sharing the same area as the other one that we saw just recently. These 2 were taken some time ago. But again, 2 male leopards. One guy is a bit old. I don't know if he's around anymore. But the other one I'm pretty sure is. Then speaking of the Kudumbigala Monastery, it's a 1 hour. It's on the same road that goes to the Kumana Park, but it's just an hour when you take a turn off. So there's 2 areas that you could go. You go to the main monasterial complex area, and then also a viewpoint of what we call Dumbigala. So the trek up to Dumbigala is about, let's say, it takes about 20 minutes. It's in certain areas, it has a bit of a steep rock face that you need to climb. It does have handrails. They're not the steadiest of handrails there, and the steps are a bit narrow and shallow, but it is possible. You need a little bit of fitness to do that. But if you take your time and keep calm and not try to rush to the top, anyone could make it. But you get a really lovely view of all around. You could see all the way up to the ocean on one side. Then you see a sea of green on the other side, where you see the Kumana National Park. And you can see the lagoon. So it's a really nice view on top, and there's a small chaitya on top. And then it's a small 10, you come back down, and then it's about a 10 minutes where you go to the main monasterial complex, where you still have priests who are there meditating. So you have to be silent at all times. There are priests currently residing, and they are meditating in the jungle. So it's very important that you keep quiet while you're there throughout. Again, we would suggest that it's best done in the morning before the rocks, and as it's a monastery and a temple area, after a certain point you do have to remove your shoes or slippers. So it's best done in the morning before things get too hot. And also in the evenings when things get cooler and the light's fading, there's always chance of you coming across an animal. So it's always good to do that in the morning.
And also something cool about on the tour is that, at Rajagala, you see an ancient monastery,
Yeah.
which is, of course, very vast, and it's been restored as we speak for the last 12 years.
Yeah.
And then a couple of days later, you see a live functioning monastery with, that even in Kudumbigala, there used to be over 200 caves with, monks living in them actively. Today, there's 15 monks who are permanently based at the monastery. They're completely isolated from the real world. They are purely to meditate, all of that. So even the building that you see here, it's built in the cave. So again, it goes back what we saw in the ancient monastery.
Yeah.
And here we see it actually happening even today.
Thanks. So these are some of the views of the Kudumbigala area. This is a view of, the Balumbala, the Chaitya, or the Daga on top of Balumbala. And this is the view of the side of Kumana National Park and a sea of green. And yeah, this, as Afan was talking earlier, this is actually a part of the old monastery complex that was used, thousands of years ago by priests and monks who were there at that time. So there are inscriptions saying that this was donated to certain priests by a certain person, and this other small chaitya is on top of where the main monastery complex is. There's also a Panama tank walk where you walk along the bund of a tank, which is built and is used for irrigation still. It's a bird watching trail, so you'll be accompanied by the hotel naturalist who will come and take you along, and you can experience this. So depending on the itinerary, I'll show you a couple of sample itineraries later. Depending on the itinerary and how you go about things, the hotel does a really nice breakfast setup where they come and do a small buffet in the middle of this thicket kind of area, which is covered by trees. They set up chairs. So that's really nice. So depending on the itinerary that you do, let's say you're doing a full day in Kumana or something, then you could just come out of Kumana in the morning, come there, sit, relax, have breakfast, relax a bit more, and then go back for your afternoon, afternoon game drive and lunch. And so I'll talk about that in a bit. So as I was saying, we've got a sample itinerary here. I mean, these are all samples. They can change the experiences. The locations won't change because that's our whole idea of our route and the hotels that we're using. That's fixed. But the experiences that you do on this tour can change. So you can go to Kanduruketa from Colombo or wherever you are, from Yala or Hambantota. Kanduruketa is accessible easily. So you go to Kanduruketa, you say you have lunch in the evening, with your naturalist, you go out on a trail, look at the trees. Then again, next day in the morning, early morning, nice bird watching trail. And then you could do a bird watching trail. So this is made for just 2 nights in one night in Kanduruketa, but we would like to do it 2 nights at each location. So you do the bird watching trail, you go on the paddy field walk, and with the paddy field walk, you go to the village where they set up a village lunch. So it's all the experiences are all interchangeable, and you could do so many things. And yeah, going on, this is just a sample, as I said. Then you go to WELLAWAYA, you do the boat safari. So certain things are a must. Like in WELLAWAYA, you have to do the boat safari, otherwise it's not, it doesn't give that whole experience. And Rajagala is a must visit. You need to do those two when you go to WELLAWAYA. Then when you go to Potuvil, then you go to Kudumbigala and Kumana, which again is a must. You could do a lagoon boat ride. There's also a tuk-tuk safari where you actually go and see crocodiles and sometimes elephants and birds, where you do it in a tuk-tuk. I mean, that's not something that you get to experience in a lot of places, where you can actually go and see a whole host of wildlife. This is outside the park, by the way, but it's wild areas where people and wildlife are kind of interacting, and then you can go and see all these. So this is what the trail would take you along the route in Sri Lanka. So I did another sample where you start off your journey in Yala, and then you go to WELLAWAYA. I mean, it could happen like that as well. So but the package that we are trying to introduce we'll have 2 nights in Kaduruketha, 2 nights in Galway, and 2 nights in Potuvil. That will be our package, and there'll be an extension to Pasikuda and Malu after that, which is a beach stay. So we're not going to include any experiences or excursions there. That's just about taking in and resting and relaxing and taking in all the other experiences that you've done in the East Coast. So yeah, I'm just going to skip through this, and that's what that sample would be like. So I mean, you could go from practically anywhere. And also, what we would like to say is that these locations are, you could use them individually as well. It doesn't have to be that you go to all three. You could go to two. You could go to one, but you could stay a couple extra days in one location and experience everything that it has to offer. So it's very unique. These areas are very unique, and it's unspoiled at the moment. So I think it's if you are selling it, it's good to do it now before it gets more popular, so that you can experience it as it is, unspoiled. Yeah, I mean, you could always get in touch with us for this, even on social media, or you can, my email address is there, and you can always get in touch. We're very happy to share all the information with you. Yeah, that's about it for the presentation. If anyone has any questions, you could just type it up. I think there's a chat. There's someone asking. It says a nice place. Thank you very much. If anyone has anything else to ask, you could put your hand up, and I think we could get you to speak as well, or you could type it up and post it. Oh, let me. Len, you can go ahead.
Thank you, Chandika, and thank you, Hashan. Wonderful presentation. Really appreciated it. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Yes, Len, we can hear you.
Okay. I just wanted to say one thing, really, and that is that you've covered the experiences, but in my experience of having been there now for 15 years plus, on and off, most people that arrive over in Potterville ask that they don't realize that there's more to do than they realized. Getting into Kumana, getting to the Panama Tank, just taking a walk along the beach to Potterville Point, 3 very good surf points within 5 kilometers, and they invariably ask for a longer stay. I also would mention that, if you've got kids, young kids, teenagers, it's really interesting to be able to get them just away from Jetwing Surf or Cortical Beach House and literally drive for less than 15 minutes. You can look back and see the coconut plantation that the 2 properties are built in. And you can go on what has been known as the tuk-tuk safari. It's a very short safari, a late afternoon, evening. And the last time I was there, just a few weeks ago, we were lucky enough to see swimming elephants, very large crocodiles, and the usual range of bird and animal life, like mongoose, monitor, the odd snake, that kind of thing, that people don't often get to see 15 minutes away from where they're staying and in a safe location. If you've got the extra couple of hours, of course, as you described, Panama Tank, where you can see sloth bears, you can see a spotted deer, you can see Lanka monkeys, and the bird life is fantastic. And then, of course, down into Kumana. So if you've only got a couple of hours or an hour, or of course a half a day, but then with the beach walks, the surfing, the ancient history, there's so much more to do, and it's in a 6-day holiday, there won't be enough time to relax. So I'm going to suggest to anybody listening to this that they investigate it further with yourselves and try and take a bit more time, because each of the locations, Galoya, Kadriketha, and then over on the East Coast, deserve more time than they're currently getting from your traveling, your average traveling public.
Yep. Thanks. And as we said, we're looking at these destinations. So we're building this tour as we would say a bare minimum of what you could do.
to get the best of each
Yeah,
place.
you get the best of each place in as a quick time as you can, but it's not written in stone, it's not carved in stone. So you could always increase the number of days you stay in either of the locations, wherever it is, and you can look at the whole host of experience. And if you want to do all of them, you could spend time and do all of them. If you want to do a few of them, you could do a few of them. So it's not, nothing's set in stone. So yeah, thanks, Len. Thanks for the advice and the insight as well.
No trouble.
Hi, Althea. You can speak. You're on mute. Thank you, Karen. Thank you for the message. Oh, you're welcome to Sri Lanka. I hope you have a good time. Yes, please do get in touch. You'll need another trip back. Just do get in touch with us, and we'll make that happen for you. Thanks, Shishant. Thank you. Hi, Althea. You had a question. You're on mute.
Sorry about that, Althea. Does anybody else? Oh, thank you so much, and that's such a lovely message to read.
Thank you.
Hope you're keeping well. And I mean, definitely you can come back anytime. 84 is still young nowadays.
Yeah, and 84 is still young. I mean,
yeah,
I'm just we were just with a guest who was 80, and she went to Yala. She's going to Boondala today. She's going to Yala again in the evening. So yeah, you're still young.
It's never too late to come
Never
back
too late.
and enjoy Sri Lanka.
And we'll gladly help you and gladly host you. And if anyone else needs to know anything, I'm just going to go back one slide so that the email address is also visible on that. If anyone has any questions or anything, you can always send it to me, and I'll be glad to help you out. Since no one else has any questions, I'm gonna
And if you want more information on the
hotels, yeah, you can get it.
And
Yeah, you need any specific?
I mean, we have a lot more pictures, and of course, you can find everything on our website as well, jetwinghotels.com, and you can find all our properties, including Jetwing Katuruketa and Jetwing Surf, or social media. All our pages have the information. But if you want any specific pictures or any videos, all of that, if you can't find it online, please get in touch with us, and we can share you all the downloadable links as well, whether it's for yourself or to share with your clients. We're very happy to assist you in any way. Of course, Chantika and the team at Jetwing Travels and Jetwing Eco Holidays will be, and Sri Lanka TaylorMade will be your first point of contact. But feel free to contact us directly if you need any further information as well. And we'll be happy to assist anytime.
Yeah, we're always happy to assist. So I guess say goodbye to everyone, and thank you so very much for joining in. And I think this is going to be we're going to have more of these, so we'll keep you informed, and be glad if you guys can join in for those as well. Thank you very much, and have a good evening, or good morning, or wherever you are from the world. Hi, Boan.
Hi, everyone.
And we'll see you soon. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, then.